Okay, I'm going to walk you guys through how to do a crank sensor alignment. It's probably the most important part of this entire pump off controller setup. So a couple things first. We need the jack parked at the bottom of stroke. The way that we define bottom of stroke is when we get the crank arms, which would be these guys that have the weights on them. We want those lined up exactly with the pitman arms, which is these guys. So you can see here, I mean, I've got it as good as I can get it. I'm on my own here, but you basically just look at the pitman arm, make sure that there's an equal amount of crank on either side. It looks a little bit off right now just because of the shadow that's being cast, but that's pretty much dead nuts. So this means that this whole assembly here is at full extension. It can't get any longer than this. That means that we're at bottom of stroke. This is the most accurate way to do it. It's way more accurate than trying to look at the polish rod. So first steps first, get the jack parked. While we're here, if it's going this way, that would be clockwise, so wellhead to the right. If the weights fall towards the wellhead, that would be a clockwise rotation. If the weights are falling back, that would be counterclockwise. This one's running clockwise. That's important for later. So I'm just gonna run up there. You're gonna go in my pocket for a sec. All right, so now we're up here. This is our crank sensor wand. Can you see the magnet? You can see the magnet. So you can see the wand. The magnet's not even really in front of the wand yet. And this is the thing, is you don't just put the magnet in front of the wand. It's very important that what we're gonna do is you're gonna have a buddy down there at the VFD. He's gonna be watching Pulse 2 on that little PLC. And you're gonna run up here and you're gonna move this magnet away because this one's gonna rotate this way. This one's going clockwise. So we wanna mimic this in operation. So you're gonna take this magnet, put it in front of the sensor first, get your buddy to verify Pulse 2. If you don't get a Pulse 2, turn it over. They're directional. This one's already set. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna slide this magnet back away from this wand. And then very, very slowly, you're gonna nudge it towards the wand. And the second that Pulse 2 turns on, get your buddy to holler at you. That means that this signal is coming exactly when this hits bottom of stroke. Critically, critically important. I hope that makes sense. If this was gonna run counterclockwise, then we would be taking the magnet from below here and sliding it as though it's running counterclockwise. In this case, we'd be going clockwise. You don't wanna put the magnet too close. The other thing with these giant magnets, I like to use a corner of it instead of the middle of it. The way that the magnetic fields come out of these are most intense in the corners. So I usually just line it up with the corner, but you can see it'll turn the sensor on before the magnet actually gets there. So keep that in mind. One sec. Okay, so at this point, everything should be all set up. I'm just gonna knock the brake off here. And I'm gonna restart our well. And what we're looking for here is this Pulse 2. See how Pulse 2's on. So this is only gonna go once a stroke. Now this one I don't have programmed to do it, but on other ones that might be coming out in the future, I'll have a program that'll chirp that start alert when Pulse 2 comes on, which will make your life a lot easier if you're doing this by yourself. So the next stroke we should get our Pulse 2, that's our crank pulse, that's perfect. Where we see this come up is in the cards. So you can see now we're doing a surface card. If that pulse goes at the wrong time, it's not gonna know where bottom of stroke is. Because this card, it goes from the bottom of the stroke up to the top and then back to the bottom again. If our bottom is incorrect, it's gonna rotate our cards. So normally with you guys on the phone, what I'll do is I'll have you send me a picture of the card so we can tell. The way you tell if it's bad is you get curls or loops at either end where it's plotting upstroke during the downstroke or vice versa. And the way you tell you're perfect is if your downhole card, the left side of your downhole card stands up vertical. That means that our cards are not rotated. This is exactly what we're looking for. So I hope that helps. This is the most critical part of the process. The other thing that's important to mention, I guess, is if you ever have your cards drawing not clockwise, so these ones you can see are going clockwise, it's gonna go up this way and around. If you ever have them going the wrong way, it could be because you mounted the crank sensor with the cranks at bottom instead of the cranks at top. So you can set that in setup, RPC, load position application. So this is the crank sensor location right here. So it's crank at top, that would be bottom of stroke. That's preferable, but if for whatever reason you have to mount it at the top of stroke where the cranks are pointed down with the pitman arms aligned with them, then what you would do is you would change that crank sensor location to crank at bottom, and then you're gonna get your cards drawing in the right direction. But for this case, it's pumped off already, that's a bad sign. In this case, this is what we're looking for. Vertical on the left-hand side, so that's a good install.